What is going on, guys? I am here with Stacy Behrman, a friend of mine. We've known each other for about a year now. Stacy, when did you first come into contact into my world?
Yeah, I think it was when you were doing all those crazy periscopes. So probably a couple of years ago, year or two, something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. And what was it on? Was it a certain keyword? Like, I don't know how you even found me because you don't know me from the YouTube stuff.
No, I kind of never come across your YouTube channel. It was, I think you were doing a periscope about, it was a Kindle Publishing one.
Okay.
And you were talking about, I think you were talking about almost the transition from nonfiction to fiction books. And at the time I was doing the same thing. So it was really interesting and kind of just joined in from there and followed a few of your videos and stuff from there.
Cool. And you've been a pretty cool person to get to know. Like it's weird. Like we had a nice little conversation last week, and it's funny. Like when I talk to people, a lot of times the first time I talk to them, they know a lot about what I've done, because maybe, I do the public YouTube stuff or whatever. But then I start like talking to you and I'm like, geez, you've done a ton of stuff. So talk a little bit about your background. You don't got to give the whole deal, but how you got into kind of internet marketing and making money online.
Yeah, I got into internet marketing from a very young age. I was about 14, and my brother would take me along to these network marketing meetings at first, and I was just obsessed with business, and it's just been kind of one of those lifelong things. I'm absolutely just an obsessive learner, so I just soak everything up. And so I started with eBay and started doing that, and that kind of transitioned into importing products from China. I was selling on Amazon. I had a website, and then I became an instructor for Amazon.com. And it's been an absolutely fantastic journey. And just with kind of, I'm a big believer in kind of diversifying, and I don't think that you should kind of have all your eggs in one basket when it comes to online income, because you never know when one of those income streams is just going to die off. So for me, it was really important to have multiple streams of income. So I have the Kindle Publishing, I have the affiliate marketing, I have my blog, my Amazon, and I think it's really important to do that because, you just don't know when one of those is going to dry up at any time. So, but I think you're right, it's strange when you're speaking to people. I think I'm kind of going through that now. You speak to people about you because they've read emails and they've been through your sequences and stuff, but when you start to talk to some of the people who follow you and kind of hear their stories and what they've done, it's just fascinating. I mean, I think that there's always something that you can learn from somebody else, and it's just amazing, and I love that.
Yeah, you were blowing my mind last. We talked Friday a week ago. I was like, geez, I got to get her on and talk to her on the channel because you've got so much value. I think that a lot of people are going to get a lot of good value out of this interview, podcast, whatever we're calling it nowadays. So, what are you focusing on right now? I know we'll get into some of your Facebook ads for authors and stuff like that, but like, what are you doing right now to, generate income for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the kind of main focus at the moment is probably me Amazon FBA. Obviously, I've got me ads for authors course and me Kindle Publishing, and then me blog and building an audience that way. So yeah, a little bit of everything, to be honest. I just love it, and I think it's difficult sometimes time-wise just to fit everything in. So that's something that I do need to get better at. But it's just something where I don't dabble in everything because I really do apply myself to everything I do. But I've just got multiple things on the go. And my partner left his job a couple of years ago to come and work with me. So that makes things a little bit easier now because it takes some of the kind of load off what I'm doing. But I have a lot of projects on the go. But I think probably my main focus is right now on me blog, the Kindle Publishing course, and my Amazon. Yeah.
Where can they find your blog at? I mean, we'll put everything down there, but if people are watching live right now, like where can people go to check your blog out?
Yeah, it's tycoonfactory.com. And it is a blog. It doesn't focus on just one area of online business. So it was important for me to almost make it accessible to everybody, because I think sometimes people have a lot of barriers when it comes to starting an online business. So they'll say, oh, I don't have the knowledge to do that, or the skills, or I don't have the funds to do that. And so the blog focuses really on lots of different ways to make money online, because that's where I feel that people could benefit, you know, so that there's always a business model that's going to suit them and their situation. So that's what the blog's based around, and there's a lot of kind of stuff on there, marketing that applies to all areas of business and stuff. But yeah, I love that side of things, you know. I mean, coaching, I do quite a bit of coaching and things like that, and that's something that I really love. I mean, teaching people and helping people succeed, you know, there's no better feeling in the world than when somebody sends you a message saying that they've achieved this because of you, and you know, I just find that amazing.
That's pretty cool, huh? So what, you know, speaking of like time management, all the stuff you have going on, like what's your day look like on a typical day? And how do you get everything done?
Yeah, I try and organize myself with this ridiculous to-do list, which is just absolutely stupid. So I have a diary that I have my to-do list in every day, and I'll put the most important tasks at the top, but you can guarantee every single day something will come up and I'll never ever get to the bottom of my list, so it ends up going on to the next day. And I mean, the thing is, it never feels like work. And so there's days where I'll find myself working until sort of, and just still not ready to switch off, and it's just because when it's a passion, it doesn't feel like work, and it makes it so much easier. And I suppose you'll have the same thing. Obviously, you have to have a certain amount of self-motivation to be kind of in the entrepreneurial space and the online business space, but obviously the nice thing is that you can work around your own hours, so you can get up and go out for a few hours, and you know, and then come back and start work. And it's kind of almost that flexibility and freedom thing that drives you.
Yeah, and I like that. And do you usually work from home, or do you like work like at a coffee shop, or like how does that typically break down?
Yeah, I tend to work from home. I have an office at home, but I do have an office in a building that I never go to.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tend to work from home more often than not, or the car office if we're on the way to gigs and stuff, because I actually sing as well. And that's something I just do because it's a passion and I love it. But yeah, so when we're on the way to gigs and stuff, I'll quite often take my mobile router and I'll have the laptop in the car. It's crazy, but I love the car office.
Nice. I asked Stacy if she would belt out a little song for us before we jumped on the air, but I don't think she's going to do it. Well, maybe we'll talk her into it.
That's a big no. Maybe next time.
Is your music on the internet anywhere, or is it just like you do like local stuff in your home?
No, I mean, we kind of go up and down the country in the UK. We actually, funny enough, sing country and western music, so it's not something that, yeah, it's totally different, because over here it's obviously not as huge a genre as it is over there.
Yeah.
Just love it, you know. And it's strange over here though, because the country clubs are just bizarre, you know. They've got guys dressed up as cowboys and they do a shootout competition, and it's a weird situation, but I just love it. It's great to watch.
We'll have to check that out sometime. I like that.
Yeah, a lot of line dancing.
Wow, I won't be doing that. I know that for sure. I will not be getting out on the dance floor.
No line dancing, Jason.
All my cowboy boots have been retired. Okay, so let's kind of get into what we really want. People have really been asking about, and this is something I'm very curious about myself, is using Facebook ads. A lot of people who watch my channel and are going to be watching this are Kindle publishers or just authors in general. And what you've done is you've created a system that teaches people how to take Facebook ads and essentially make more sales to their books, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I found Kindle Publishing. I started Kindle Publishing in early 2015, and I found it great at first. You know, you would put a book up and it would do fine for a very short space of time, and then it would just drop off the face of the earth. And I found it so frustrating. And I was trying all these different strategies. You know, you had different people saying, "Oh, try this, do this," and it was fine for a little while. And I was even paying companies to promote books and things like that. But then what would happen is Amazon would change the the rules again, as they do, and it would become against their terms of service. And it was one of these things that was really frustrating, because I was trying to publish more and more books every month to just keep that royalty check at the same level, and I wasn't growing, and it was just really frustrating. And at the time, I mean, I still actually do this now, but I only have a very small number of clients because it's quite time consuming. I was running a Facebook ads agency, so I was running ads for companies to get them results, and I'd had a lot of success with that. And it just kind of hit me one day. I thought, well, I wonder what happens if you apply almost like those real world marketing strategies to your Kindle books. And so I started driving some traffic to Amazon books, and at first I wasn't really sure how to target and stuff. It was something that was very much a learning curve, and something that I kind of perfected over time. And it was like we had some sort of mediocre results at first. I was like, okay, that's not bad. You know, we were kind of, it took a couple of days, and then we would jump massively up the rankings, and the ad spend wasn't huge. So I thought, oh, hang on, this could be like onto something. And spent some time doing a load of testing and finding out what people were missing out of their targeting and stuff. And it was just, the results were fantastic. So my books kind of, I would take a book that was kind of at over 1 million, and then sort of the next day I'd be able to have that down to 30,000. And obviously we all aiming to get under that 100K rank, you know. And so that worked really well. And then what I thought is, okay, let's take this a step further, because yes, driving traffic to Amazon's one thing, but obviously those Kindle books are quite low cost. And so you're not ever going to get a huge return on investment. Just a step further, and I started applying some of the stuff that I use in kind of real world business to Kindle Publishing. So I would use Facebook ads to grow an audience of fans. And obviously then when you come to launch a book and you've got that audience of fans, it just makes sense, because you can then promote that to them, and you instantly get that sales boost, and then that contributes to your sales rank as you go on. So it isn't even just about the results that you get in that instant that you're running the ads, it's the boost that you get from Amazon when they say, okay, hang on, that book's something that people want. So it was a fascinating journey, and you know, it's something that it excites us really, because, you know, being able to take a book that is kind of failing and then just turn it around is something that's, you know, it's really powerful. And so what I tend to do now is I'll take a couple of books. I don't do it on all my books all of the time, because it would become too labor intensive to watch the ads all the time. So what I'll do is I'll choose like 2 books a month that I'll say, right, okay, those books are going to be the ones that I really promote this month, and go down that route. But having that kind of audience of raving fans, you know, it makes such a massive difference, because you can just put an email out, book sales, and then it's going to continue to search rankings, you know. So it's been really good.
Yeah, I love it. I think so. Like when you do your Facebook page, are you doing it like as a publishing company, or do you do it like for each author, or like how do you do that?
Yeah, each author.
Okay.
But here's the weird thing, is that only some of my pen names have Facebook pages. So I may have, for example, with my fiction books, they tend to come all under one pen name. So I've got a Facebook page for that. But when it comes to running ads for some of my nonfiction books, I'll usually just drive them to a landing page, and then that would come under a general publishing company Facebook page, because rather than kind of run them using Facebook lead ads, I'll run them to a landing page because they convert better. So, you know, I tend to do a bit of both. For the fiction, it tends to be more under pen names, and then for non-fiction, I tend to have a publishing company one just for running ads.
Okay, I like that. Now, do you feel like there's any difference between nonfiction and fiction, like as far as your personal success?
Absolutely, yeah. I find that it's a weird one, because I find that fiction does better organically, and when it comes to ads, it's a strange one, because you'll find that page reads boost bigger in fiction, whereas the paid sales boost bigger in non-fiction. So I kind of do a bit of both. The fiction is a lot easier to build a fan base in, because they seem to be really passionate about what they're doing, what they're reading, and they do tend to follow the authors that they like very quickly. So kind of from the email marketing perspective, the fiction stuff works better on that level, whereas with the Facebook ads, the non-fiction works really well on paid sales. So they do tend to balance out, but yeah, that seems to be the main difference, is that it's usually paid sales when it comes to non-fiction, and page reads when it comes to fiction.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to jump into this, because I've done some Facebook stuff, but never for books, and I've heard of people having, can you talk about maybe some people you've coached, or some people that you've even heard about that are making a ton of money with this strategy?
Yeah, obviously this course is a very new course, and so at the moment I've just got people just starting to kind of filter through it and stuff now. So I can only kind of talk about my own successes when it comes to the Facebook ad stuff. So like I say, it was a case of tracking. I know one of the questions somebody asked in the group was how do you track, because obviously there's no Facebook pixel on Amazon. Basically, rather than tracking with sort of the paid sales, obviously you can see the spikes on your dashboard, but rather than tracking with paid sales, you would track by the bestseller rank. So that's how I've been tracking kind of my books. So if I had a book that went from kind of 1.6 million, which was absolutely horrific, and then within 2 days it cost me like $5 in ads, and it dropped to sort of 30,000. So it's just kind of that's how I would track, as opposed to tracking actual paid sales, is to track by the bestseller rank, because obviously that takes into account things like your Kindle page reads and stuff. But money-wise, obviously Kindle Publishing isn't my main business focus. I have a lot of different, and I always had a goal when I started the Kindle Publishing business just to get to 2K a month. And I thought, okay, well, if I get to that, then, I can just maintain it at that, because you hear people saying, oh, it's a passive income model. And so I got to that point and thought, right, great, I've done that, and then stopped publishing. And then, as you can imagine, everything just dropped off, and it kind of sunk right back down again, which was really frustrating. And so when I started doing the Facebook ads again, which has literally only been since sort of January, it's sort of really early days when it comes to the Kindle stuff, I've managed to get, I dropped back down to 1,000 a month, and I'm back up to 3,000 a month now. And then, it's just growing from there, and it's very early days with it. But I think that using these strategies, I know that I've kind of gained that 2,000 within 3 months. So I know that I can continue to scale that. And I think that because Facebook ads is such a transferable skill, it's something that you can use in more areas of business, and it's the back end sales as well. So for example, when I've grown this list, I have managed to use affiliate marketing to have extra sales and stuff. So I might pull in another couple of thousand a month on affiliate sales from growing the list, which has come from the Facebook ads as well. So it's almost applying all these real world businesses to the Facebook ad area within your Kindle business,
Wow. I've got so many things to ask, I guess. So like when you do an ad, like, is it going to be like, you just like post a book cover? You're creative. Like, how does that work? What do you recommend for that?
The creative is actually, and this is a great tip for people actually, because the creative is actually one of the things that can make or break an ad. So obviously video, Facebook love video, and they actually give you a discount on your ads for using it, because it's so much more engaging, and people really do kind of respond to video better. So if you're in a niche where you can use video for your ads, then that's worthwhile doing so. However, when it comes to images, sometimes your book covers will have too much text in them.
Oh yeah.
And what happens is, Facebook will say, right, okay, well, we'll allow this ad to go through, but they actually don't give it the same amount of reach as they would if your image didn't have any text in. So it's important to almost take your book cover and almost redesign it. And for that, I would just use something like Canva, so that it's got a lot less text in, but it still has that same appeal. And testing images is really important when it comes to your ads. Different things work in different niches, but one thing I've found is almost like if your ad picture is just a little bit confusing. So what I mean by that is it has people thinking, oh, okay, what is that? What's that about? I mean, we've actually used pictures in the past where we blurred out the image, just bizarre, and tested it, and it was just that actually had better conversion rates because people were clicking on it like, what is that picture? What is that a picture of? So we'd like have an image that was blurry with just a little bit of text on, and that actually converted better. So sometimes it's just a case of testing, but the ad media is often what it is that people are doing wrong. It's usually that or the targeting that is the issue.
Right. And in targeting, we could go into a 2-hour conversation about how to target. And, you know, I'm sure people can learn that in your course. I was going through some of it, and like you were saying, yeah, like it is geared towards authors, but it can teach you how to do other stuff as well. I mean, if you're doing e-commerce, a lot of people who follow me do e-commerce, you can learn, you know, some stuff, you know, just going through your course. So very, very transferable, as you say. So
yeah, I mean, Facebook ads is obviously huge right now. And the thing is, it's so powerful because of the target methods that it's got. And the Facebook pixel just makes things incredible when it comes to building lists and seeing who's opted in and who hasn't. And, you know, the stuff that you can do with it now is just unbelievable. But just a little hint for some of your guys that are trying to use Facebook ads to their books, something that they may not be doing is in the targeting, you can actually target people who have purchased a Kindle. It's a buyer behavior, and that's one tip that I want to give you guys, because it just makes such a difference. You know, if you're trying to target competing authors and stuff, that's fine, but you don't necessarily know those people are reading on Kindle. So it's really important to make sure that the people you're targeting have actually bought a Kindle, you know.
Wow, that is, you mentioned that last week. So you can, what is it in the behaviors then when you target that?
Yeah, so when you're doing your targeting, and I will say that although most people start by targeting interests and behaviors and things, that isn't always the ideal way to go. There's a lot more advanced strategies that you can use when it comes to targeting. However, when you kind of go into the interests, the detailed interests, and you're starting to add some of your targeting methods, one of the things you can search for is Kindle, and you'll see it's usually either purchase behavior or buyer behavior or just behaviors, and that means that those people have bought a Kindle, because they don't just have interests on there. They've got people who've bought certain things, there's interests, there's demographics, so you can target by so many different things. But that's something that I see time and time again. You know, if somebody messages me and says, what would you do with this ad? And it's something I see time and time again, is that people forget to put in that purchase of a Kindle, you know, and it's it's almost common sense. It's almost like you'd think, oh yeah, you know, but it's something that people just forget to do, and they just target that competing authors.
Yeah, I gotcha. So definitely target the behaviors of people who have purchased a Kindle, because yeah, that I'm gonna actually probably write that down, or when I go back through this, I'm gonna do that, because as you can see behind the board, I have revived my KDP business, because I was kind of like where you were at, where I kind of just stopped producing a lot of books. You know, I was doing courses and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to do these. But I mean, it's such a gold mine. You can make so much money passively once you get everything, you know, up and running. And when you combine your methods to this, I mean, you know, I've heard personally of people making a lot of money just driving traffic off of Facebook over to Amazon. Now, a couple more things. So do you drive them? I know you mentioned in your course when I was going through it, sometimes you send them to a landing page, and then sometimes you'll send them right to the Amazon offer. What's your thoughts on that? Do you do both still, or?
Absolutely, yeah. I think for me, building an audience is one of the most profitable things you can do, because obviously if you've got that email list of people who like what you're doing, they like your books, they like your writing, the thing that you can do with that is obviously you've got, every time you've got a launch or a free promotion, you can email them. It means that you are pretty much guaranteeing the success of any new books that you publish before they're even out, because you can create a buzz around that. But you've also got the opportunity for back-end sales as well. So you can offer them affiliate products that they might be interested in. You know, there's just so much more you can do. Plus, there's some advanced Facebook targeting strategies that if you've got a list, you can actually use that within Facebook to create audiences, custom audiences. And basically Facebook's kind of artificial intelligence is just out of this world, and that makes a huge difference to your cost per clicks and your conversion rates and how much it's costing you to get conversions. So the building the audience thing is something that, like, for me is really important. However, like I said before, I tend to pick sort of 2 books a month that I'll really push, and I'll push those with the ads direct to the book. I'll also do some stuff with emails and stuff like that, just to give some other books a boost. And it's not it's quite strategic. So I mean, I could potentially run ads to all my books at the same time, but it would become quite time consuming. And obviously we're all in business for the same reason, you know, we all want kind of that passive income and the freedom of it. So for me, even though I know that I could kind of boost my book revenue pretty much immediately by running it to all books, I don't want that commitment of being sat looking at Facebook ads all the time. So by doing it this way and picking a couple of books just to promote every month and then doing the email stuff, it works really well, because the email stuff you don't have to keep an eye on, you know.
Right on. Is your ad copy pretty simple, or is it just like, you know, pretty, like, how do you, like, can you give us like a basic example of something that you would do for like a nonfiction or a fiction book?
Always important to try and call out somebody on either a pain or a desire. So if, for example, you were doing a book on, I don't know, dog training is an example I use. If you're doing a book on dog training, then obviously you really need to think in depth about what it is that person's problem is, because people don't buy into a book. People buy into what the book can do for them. So you need to think in depth about what it is that person's suffering and how you can improve that with your book. And that's if you can make your ad copy around that, around either the pain or the desire, then you're going to appeal to them kind of almost on a deeper level. So you might start by calling them out by saying something along the lines of, is your I don't know, dog barking at everybody as they come in the door? Is it embarrassing you? Because you're calling them out.
Me, I need to get that book. Man. They're in there right now.
Dog training book. Yeah, but you know, so you call them out on almost on that pain point or that embarrassment. And the flip side of that is you could also call them out on a desire. So it'd be like, would you like to achieve this? So you've got 2 ways of going about that, and it's almost like that's why you need to grab people in with the headline. So your image or your ad media and that headline and the most important part of your whole ad, because they are the things that people notice first, and they'll decide straight away whether or not they're going to read on just from those 2 things. So if you get your headline strong, calling them out on either pain or desire, and then your ad media right, then you've got a lot more chance of them reading on in the ad and then clicking through.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Geez, is there like a cost per click that you like to stay under when you're doing your ads? Or is like a metric what's the key metric you look at, I guess, would be a better question.
A few different metrics. So relevance score is important, because that's going to tell you whether or not your ad is resonating with your audience. If your relevance score is low, then it means that either your ad isn't right for your audience or your targeting isn't right for your ad, and you've got to change that up. So relevance scores, always want to keep an eye on. Positive and negative feedback. A lot of people don't know this is there, but yeah, you can look at the positive and negative feedback that your ad's getting. So that's almost like, are people trying to hide it in their news feeds? If people hide the ad, then that classes as negative feedback in Facebook's eyes, and that can again affect your relevance score. Yeah. So those are important. Cost per click varies massively from niche to niche. So for example, if you were kind of in the weight loss niche, you would expect to pay a lot more per click, whereas in romance or fiction books, you can quite often get those clicks down to sort of 20 cents, you know. So it really does vary massively from niche to niche.
Wow. Yeah, imagine so. Wow. So man, we've covered a lot. There's so much that we could get into on this. We might have to do a part 2, because I'm definitely then I'm going to be jumping in and, you know, maybe sharing some of the results on the channel. I've actually been playing around with the AMS, Amazon Marketing Services, and I know I don't think you cover that in your course, but you mentioned you might be, you know, adding some stuff in there. So
Yeah, that's something I'm actually interested in. I mean, I tend to kind of dive in and learn something, and that's what I did with Facebook ads. I've been kind of working with Facebook ads for a couple of years now, and but the Amazon ads, I've used it on my Amazon FBA products, like sponsored products, but I've never used it on Kindle books. So that's something that I'd definitely be testing out and having a play around with.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. It's not as in depth as Facebook, but I like the simplicity. Like Facebook is, that's why like, you know, I'm going to be digging into your course and, you know, other Facebook stuff too, just because it's very complex. So if someone like yourself can take all this information and, you know, put it into a good format, it's just going to help people. So, wow. We're going to put links down in the description, but let's plug the course a little bit, because I do feel like a lot of people are going to get value once they jump into this. So talk a little bit about what your course goes over, kind of like what it's going to help people achieve and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the idea of the course, because a lot of people think about Facebook ads as, right, okay, I'm going to run ads to Amazon and then that's it, you know, and that's what I plan to do. And the trouble is that they find that Facebook's quite a big learning curve, and so they find that they don't get the results that they hope for immediately and end up just kind of spinning it off. So the course is almost to cut out that learning curve a little bit. Like, granted, there's always going to be testing for different books and different niches required. However, it takes out some of the kind of unknown stuff, and obviously adds in that second element of building the email list and all of that as well. So it really does cover both aspects of that. But there's quite a few different modules. So I do a goal setting and mindset module, because I find that's really important. And I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's something that's really important to me and has helped me. So I always include that in everything that I do. So there's that. And then we go into building your first 100 people on an email list. For some of the more advanced Facebook ad strategies, you're going to use that for some of the advanced stuff. So it's important to do that. And so we go into that, and then I get into all the nitty gritty of ads. And this is kind of where pixels come in, and custom audiences and conversions. And so I go through all of that, and then we go into the more advanced strategies. So that covers things like optimization, things like best business practices within Facebook. There's actually things that aren't advertised. It's a bit unknown, and I only know them because I have a contact who works at Facebook. So there's some things like best practices that, you know, are really important that people just don't realize. So it covers a little bit of everything. It goes into the ads, it goes into the kind of email marketing side, and how you can go into monetizing the list and building an audience and launching books. And, you know, so it really does cover every angle. And I think that the idea of it is that I want to help as many people as possible, but it kind of cuts out that learning curve a little bit. It gets you straight onto the point where, okay, I'm ready to test an ad.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be sharing some results. Hopefully I'll be one of your success stories here in the next couple of months or weeks, so, you know, however long it takes. So I'm excited. And I guess one last question. What's that in the back? Is that like your world domination thing in the back on that whiteboard, or what is that?
Oh, that's one of my sales funnels.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if any of you guys use ClickFunnels, but yeah, so I map out all of my my sales funnels on there. But yeah, world domination, that works too.
All right, Stacey. Well, you got anything else for us? It's been really informative and entertaining, so I appreciate you coming on. So do you got any final thoughts or kind of things like that before we wrap up?
No. Thank you for having me. It's been great talking to you.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you all of you guys who watched. Make sure down in the description below, I'm going to be putting links to Stacey's course. So if you want to jump in and invest in that, I would highly recommend it. I've gone through it, you know, I've gone through not all of it, but I've definitely glimpsed through it, and there's some really good stuff in there. And I have no doubt that if you apply it, you're going to be successful. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.